Hello Mzansi, welcome back to our channel. In today's video, we're going to be covering today's most epic game, the Rugby World Cup final, where South Africa has qualified into the finals. And if you don't already know, the nation is excited. Let's get into it. What's the biggest question is, will South Africa win the Rugby World Cup yet again? So let's go into the details. So Mzansi, this is promising to be the ultimate Rugby World Cup final. That's the promise, says Gerald Imre of the Associate Press in an article that was published yesterday. So according to this article, today's game is actually the 106th showdown between the gigantic rivals New Zealand and South Africa. And this game is actually going to elevate rugby, and it's going to be one of the biggest games ever. And the reason for that is it's going to be one of those games where after the game, people are going to say, do you remember when South Africa won? Or do you remember when New Zealand won? It's really up in the air who's going to win, because these are two very, very, very strong teams. Comment down below who your thoughts are on who's going to win this game, South Africa or New Zealand. So here are some quick facts. Through 102 years of the games, in a duel that remained rugby's most ferocious, even when there's no silverware at stake, the All Blacks and the Springboks have met head-on just once in a World Cup final before. So in 102 years, this is going to be their second time meeting together. Let's see how well you know your South African history. So in 1995, that is when they've met the first time for the World Cup final. And I can actually remember it because I see Madiba, Nelson Mandela wearing the Springboks shirt when South Africa won the World Cup, the Rugby World Cup. So let me just, I digress. Let me get back to the article. While that 1995 title decider provided a momentous day for a newly democratic South Africa, the reality is it didn't have the sheer rugby significance and context that this final at Stade de France in Paris has. Rugby history will be made today, no matter what, with one of the World Cup's joint most successful teams winning a record fourth title, a massive extra motivator in a contest that never, ever needs one. Either South African coach Jacques Nienaber or New Zealand coach Ian Foster, both departing after the World Cup, will leave behind a magnificent legacy. New Zealand's Sam Whitelock could become the first man to win 3 trophies to add to his All Blacks appearance record. Wow. Siya Kolisi, South Africa's first black captain and a trailblazer for his country, is likely playing his last World Cup game and hoping to be only the second skipper to lead a team to back-to-back World Cup victories after New Zealand great Richie McCaw. Listen, this is good. There's a lot at stake in this game, okay? So the coaches are both retiring. One of them wants to leave behind a legacy that they won this World Cup. One of New Zealand's player, Sam Skipper, he has if New Zealand wins, Sam, did I say Sam Skipper? No. Sam Whitelock, he could be the first man to win 3 rugby trophies, all under the All Blacks team. Then we also have on the South African side, Siya Kolisi, and he could be the first black captain to win the Rugby World Cup, and he's also retiring. Wow, there's a lot going on. Guningi. But it all happens tonight, and we figured this out. What history is going to actually be made. Okay, let's continue reading. There are a line of other big All Blacks and Springbok names heading into or towards retirement in an era-ending game for both squads. They will finish against the team they probably dreamed as kids of beating right here in a Rugby World Cup final. And above it all, defending champion and number 1 ranked South Africa plays number 2 ranked New Zealand. I have to say that again. South Africa is ranked number 1 and New Zealand is ranked number 2. Is that going to be the prediction for this final? Therefore, this is ensuring a final of epic proportions is also officially a meeting of two of the best teams in the world. This is a way to make history. New Zealand fly half Richie Mongo said, "I want to be part of history. I want to bring the World Cup home. Whatever happens after that, I don't really care." I'm sure a lot of other boys are like that too. Saturday night, 9 o'clock is where it's all at. So this New Zealand versus South Africa game, New Zealand has the historic head-to-head superiority and has also won the last 3 of their 5 Rugby World Cup meetings. South Africa has won all 3 finals it has played in. Come on now. Yeah, these are very strong teams. The 6 games between them since rugby returned properly after COVID-19 pandemic have been shared 3-3. I hope this article helps catch up anyone who doesn't even keep up with rugby like myself, but I'm already understanding how big this is. So let's continue. With the century of clashes to draw on, when the All Blacks have been clearly dominant overall, it's 2 Springbok victories that stand out, 28 years apart, as maybe the most consequential now. The English is Englishing now. I remember it very well. The 1995 final is seared in both countries and teams' minds, even if the 2023 players set for the second chapter were all too young to remember it or not even born then. Oh, come on, they were born then. Oh, no, maybe Abanye, I'm at 2000s. On the team. I remember it very well. Springboks coach Ninaiba said this week, "I remember after the victory we were all in the street, even with the weight of the 95. Neighbor said this final is probably the biggest rugby game there has ever been." For New Zealand, the memories of the mighty 1995 All Blacks and their unexpected loss to the old enemy desperately need to be purged. This final is the first chance, more than a quarter of a century later, for real, lasting closure. There weren't many days that go by when I didn't think about the World Cup final. New Zealand's 1995 captain Sean Fitzpatrick said in an interview in 2020. He stewed on that Johannesburg loss for years. He said, "The one that got away. That is one that got away for us." The other game to take into account is the most recent, a pre-World Cup warm-up that threw up a record 35-7 win for the Springboks, the All Blacks' worst defeat in history, and a bolt out of the blue. That set New Zealand rugby's most successful team by the volume of its wins over 120 years on a new, unfamiliar path at this World Cup, one of vindication and redemption. The All Blacks will play in a record 5th Rugby World Cup final and for the first time are not the favorites in this rarest of rare games. The ultimate motivation is exactly the same as the teams that have gone before them though. We get it. From the history and the legacy of the All Blacks jersey, which is massive for us, says Foster. The people who have walked the journey we have walked are pretty special. We get it from the people we represent, our families and our past. Then, when we shut the door and get in a circle, it's also a group of people who are massively motivated to meet the standards we have set ourselves. Well, Mzansi, that's it on today's game. I hope this helped bring everyone up to speed on what is at stake. Comment down below if you'll be watching the game, which team you want to win. Clearly, the All Blacks are very upset since they lost last time to South Africa. South Africa is very determined to hold on to a second win against New Zealand because that gives them the ultimate bragging rights. That's it from us. I don't want to make this video too long. Catch you later tonight as I post highlights from the game. Go South Africa, go!